one is a non-functional testing. So this is not a mandatory testing, this is an optional testing. So only if the client wants it, then only you need to perform this. And there will be separate team or separate person who will be doing this kind of testing, which is who is known as performance tester or performance tester team. Okay, so they will have to hire the special ability testers. Okay, so there are different kinds of non-functional testing also, just like the functional testing or different aspects of it. Non-functional testing also has different types of it. Some of which are performance testing, stress testing, load testing, endurance testing, security testing. Okay, one more is spike testing. Okay, so these are all similar, so I'll just put it here. Security testing, reliability testing, compatibility testing, portability testing, configuration or installation testing, memory, storage, multi-language testing, globalization, localization, internationalization testing, parallel testing, disability testing. So disability testing is actually for 508. This will mainly be coming in accessibility testing also. So like if there are any disabled people like hearing impaired, visually impaired people, so the main they will use JAS kind of software, IBM's JAS. So that for these people, some government sites actually provide the special icon, like just like if you take a look at any website, there will be language selection, right? English, Spanish, in Italiano, and French, etc. So likewise, there will be one feature for this one. Upon selecting which, the whole site will be illuminated, like the contrast will be enhanced and the font size will be enhanced, etc. So that the disability people can see. So okay, so coming to the main part of non-functional testing. So whenever I say non-functional testing, first thing that comes into my mind is, comes into anybody's mind is the performance testing, of course. Okay.
Yes. Hello.
So yeah. Go ahead.
For disability testing, so then any like you have to use that third-party tool for that one?
Yeah, so disability testing, they will use the tools such as JAS, that is IBM's tool will be used. So let me show it to you. For this, you don't need to worry because this wouldn't come under regular kind of testing. So let me go and check it out. IBM's yes. For kind of testing, disability testing. So this is kind of tool. They have different types of test cases too. This is certainly from automation. So I think RTC is also used. I don't know because these kind of testing is taken care by different people. So just type. I am actually searching the image only. Just try to search the Google, and you will know more about it. But disability testing, 508 testing. That's what they call. So mainly these will be in for .gov. So if you are working in, for example, healthcare related projects like such as Obamacare and other, so they will be incorporating these kind of disability related features, and hence there is a need for disability testing as well. So they will hire the disability tester. One resource will be sufficient because there is not much to test, but they still need to perform the testing. Okay, so as far as the performance testing is concerned, performance load testing, spike testing, endurance testing, there are special kinds of tools which are called HP Load Runner or Rational Performance Tester majorly. This is IBM tool, that's a HP tool. And there are other tests, software to neo load test, and there are other cloud-based performance test tools. Cloud-based tools. Okay. So majorly in this, what they will do is performance tester. They have to emulate the access for X number of concurrent users. Okay. So in normal testing, what you do is you just focus on the functionality of the application, right? That means only one user at a time. But in performance testing, in realistic scenario for Amazon, let's say there may be a multiple number of people accessing the same page at the same time, and the client must be should be interested in what is the performance of the page, how fast it is loading. So if it is slowing down, then obviously it's not good, right? So the main performance tester, what they will do is they, using these softwares, Load Runner and IBM Performance Tester, emulate the access of pages for, let's say, 200 concurrent users. Okay, and thereby finding out the response time of each page. Okay, so response time of each page, and we will find there are like 100 pages, so each page, and finally to find the average response time. Okay, so how can you find the average response time? The sum of all response times of all pages divided by the number of pages, 100, that will give the average response time. And he has to, this will be actual average response time, and he has to compare with the expected response time. So SLA has a just one liner. SLA means service level agreement, has like it should have expected response time, says expected average response time of the application test is less than 5 seconds 90% of the time, and greater than 5 seconds but less than or equal to 10 seconds remaining 10% of the time. Okay, that's one liner, that's it. So 90% of time, for example, like exactly 100 pages are there, and 90 pages response time is lying like 4 seconds. Okay, I'll explain what the average response time is again. And 10 pages response time is somewhere 9 down the line, 9 seconds. Then it is pass scenario. What is fail scenario? 90% of the time, 90 page response time is actually going like 12 seconds beyond. Okay, so obviously that's a failure, clear cut. Now what is the response time? Response time is nothing but client taken time plus network time plus server processing time. Okay, putting all this together is a response time. So basically you send some request, you click on the button, that is a client takes time, and depending on the bandwidth it will also take some time, add up to it, and after it reaches the server it will analyze it, process it, and if it is a SOAP it will analyze the XML. If it is a REST, it will analyze the JSON and get back, check back with the database, and again it will convert into another JSON or XML, and again transfer backs, and again clients or browser takes it, analyzes and displays in the HTML format. This whole thing is, it might take 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or whatever the seconds it may be. So that's what the client is requesting. If this total time of each page on average 90, if there are 100 pages, 90 pages, those each average must be less than 5 seconds, and other 10% it could be like definitely not greater than or equal to 10 seconds, greater than 10 seconds. It should be less than or equal to 10 seconds. Okay, so then that is an expected response time. If anything that is not meeting this expectation is considered to be performance failure. So then they will raise a defect, and then the whole process goes on fixing. And there is a different kind of fixing for this one. Instead of functionality testing, they will look for the maximum number of control structures, loops used in the code. So the more the number of control structures, obviously it will take a lot of time. So the developer has to optimize it. And also infrastructure team will have to look into the memory and CPU, number of CPUs used and stuff like that, the infrastructure wise. So that will be fixed too. So these things will be taken care in the performance testing. The basic difference between performance tests is, whole thing is called performance. Load testing is you will increase the size concurrent users like 10, 20, 50, 100, 200 gradually go to maximum load size. And endurance is you check for the endurance by increasing by not increasing, by testing the same load like 500, see if the application is responding positively or not. And stress testing is you put the stress at the suddenly 5,000 users and see how it is. Spike testing is spiking, like you start with 10, again suddenly go to 1,000 and come back to 50 and suddenly go to 2,000, like this spiking all of a sudden, and see how the application is responding, how its response time is. That's all you need to know. Okay, so those kind of testing you cannot do it manually, so using the software. Okay, so another non-performance testing is compatibility and portability testing. So this is to verify whether the project is working in all environments and all operating system servers, all kinds of browsers or not. So Chrome, this will be taken care by automation browsers with Chrome, Firefox and Edge. And operating systems, Linux, Unix, Windows, Mac, everything. And servers, different servers, and environments, different environments. Okay, so all these things will be taken care, part of which will be tested by automation test sets itself. So this will be taken care. And configuration testing is to verify software is configured with hardware or not. So sometimes it is not compatible, the software and hardware. So for example, if you're using Mac machines, hardware will be different. Also servers, different kinds of servers. So there will be separate team for this one. So manual tester will not do it. And installation testing is to verify installation of any software downloaded is proper or not. So that will be, for example, mostly web-based applications do not need any installation. So in case there is any special software installation is needed, that will be tested. So mostly it's not whole and sole installation. It's just a part of the web application where you need to install something. Security testing is for authorization and authentication, encryption, decryption. So what is the difference between authentication and authorization? Let me explain. So authorization is first authentication. Authentication is first you log in and you provide valid credentials. Then you are said to be authenticated. That then only you enter the system. If wrong validations, wrong credentials, you will not be authenticated. Now authorization, after even though you authenticated, you enter the system, you might not be able to access some features. So there will be different user levels like admin user, normal user, supervisor, customer care users. So according to the user you are, according to the user that you logged in, only those features will be appearing in your application. So for example, in some healthcare related services, they will also set up different application for customer care people. So if I only log in with their ID and password, then only I will be able to see those features, like where when I call customer care, they will be pulling up the information. So those things will be only visible to them. So that will be authorized. So after authentication, you will be authorized to access some features. Also, encryption decryption is important aspect. So in the sense that when you submit data, so mostly if you see HTTPS, those will actually encrypt the data you're submitting, and using some algorithm, okay, and this will travel the whole network encrypted. So just before hitting the server, it will, again using the same algorithm, it will decrypt the whole message in terms of XML or JSON, doesn't matter. Then it will be checked in, it will be processed according to the code written, and that message again, it comes back to the response, again that will be encrypted, and again it will be traveling back to client. So just before hitting the client, it will be decrypted again using the same algorithm. Then it will, after decrypting, it will analyze this and provide the HTML so for visibility purposes. So these kind of testing is done in the security testing. So again, there will be a separate team for that. And memory data volume testing, storage testing is to verify project is able to handle maximum data or not. So 2 GB for so and so users, so and so data is used, etc. And performance load testing, I already explained. Yeah, so this is the same thing. I think it's duplicate. Okay, that's okay. So you can read it twice. So like I said, it will be tested with number of concurrent users, 5, 10, 50, 100, 250, 200. So stress testing and spike testing is to verify application is able to sustain the load increments. Okay. And multi-language testing. So like I explained, if some page, some applications, web applications will have the language button on top right corner mostly, and upon selecting which, whole page is displayed in that language. So for this, the developers will maintain a property file for each language, French, Spanish, and all these, and it will just convert each and every word to that language. That's all. There is no separate coding. Coding is irrespective of the language. Only the words will be translated into using the property file. That's it. And finally, what you will see is the whole page in the particular language. So there are two parts of multilinguality. One is globalization. This is called internationalization or localization. So internationalization is to verify project functionalities country-wise. So for example, if your application is accessed in US, let's say Amazon US, so obviously if you check out some product, that will be total price will be appearing in dollars currency. So same Amazon site, if you're trying to access in India, so that currency will automatically change in terms of rupees, Amazon.in, or any other country. In Great Britain, if you're accessing same, it will show in pounds. So that particular testing is called internationalization, based on the notations and currency and date format as well. So in US will be following the MMDDY, in India it's DDMMYY and stuff like that. So these will be tested according to the country you're accessing from. And localization is related to direct language. So if you're accessing this in France, the whole page, Amazon page, will be displayed in French. So that will be tested too in multilingual testing. Okay. So parallel testing, comparative testing is to verify previous versions of the same product and also the competitive product in the market. So for example, previous versions in the sense, for example, Google is maintaining previous versions, right? So it will be tested with the previous version. So whichever, if, for example, the current version is not up to the mark, then previous version will be tested, and which is up to the mark, obviously they will revert back to the previous version, and it will be tested in comparison with the current competitive product in the market. Let's say Yahoo is a competitive product in the market for Google. So also it will be tested, just to get it better than this. So that's just an example. Okay, so that's overall system testing. So this is actually we are back to the SDLC. Remember, SDLC, we have requirement gathering, system design, and implementation, and then system testing, then UAT. So UAT is after the system testing is done. So this is just to make sure if any part of the application is not going to production untested. So that means the testers must take care of all or they should have written all test cases covering all requirements, okay, from all 360 degrees direction. In case by mistake anything is not tested properly, the UAT, user acceptance testing team, will catch it, right? So then if they catch it, obviously you will again come back to testing team and asking why did you not catch it. So you need to provide explanation. So there are two types of testing in the UAT. One is alpha testing, another is beta testing. Alpha testing is for applications at real customer site. Only the customer side people will test it. So that's called alpha testing for applications. So same thing, customer side, but model customers. So if they test for the products, it will be called beta testing. So what is a product? Product is nothing but a collection of applications. For example, if you take Yahoo, that's not an application, that's a product, because Yahoo comes with different Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Search Engine, Yahoo this and that. So that's a product. So that if you're testing for Yahoo, that will be called beta testing. Okay. Applications in the sense any like your own project. For example, if you're working on Visa, so that's just an application. So you'll be working on, they will be working on alpha testing. So release and port testing, which is final testing after UAT, just before deploying the code after the sprint into production environment. That means once it goes to production, it will be live and it can be accessed by end user. So just to make sure before this, they will also perform release and port testing after a UAT, just to make sure everything is fine, everything can be released. So before the production, they also, some projects will maintain stage environment. So they'll deploy into stage environment and everything is going fine, no issues. Then finally they will deploy the code in production. So once it goes, it will be live and anybody can access. So that's all about the SDLC. That's the end of SDLC.